Hello everybody, Loki Magics, another day, another video. But in this video today, I wanted to make a simple PvE progression guide. Pretty much in this video, I wanted to set the frameworks for you to be able to make your team compositions and pick what champions should you prioritize first, depending on who you have with, chivalry options. So this way you could completely beat all the content in PvE 100%, right? And I'm not just speaking from theory crafting point of view. I actually been through this game, beat a lot, everything's done for me, right? You can see I have all the champions maxed out. My power level is pretty high, so I just wanted to share my knowledge, what I experienced, and give that to you guys so you guys can max out your accounts the best way you can. So let's get right into it. All right, so let's get started. And the very first building block of this whole framework is going to be Morgan. Everybody is going to get a copy of her, and she starts off with her fire relic, so it's perfect, right? You really don't need any other relic to beat content when it comes to PvE. Of course they're nice, but you don't need it, and you want to get her to C3. C3 is the game changer for her because you could spam the A1 and she will do that defense decrease stats on any target. And using only A1 saves you a lot of vigor, right? Her A2 is really strong too with the attack gauge decrease. So Morgan is absolutely the foundation of your team composition. You could use her everywhere. So now that we have that established, right, the next thing you will want to build is a decent healer, because early game Morgan can provide the DPS that you need. She's not a DPS champion, but she can provide it early game. So having a strong healer is definitely going to benefit your account. And I will have to say Sarah's the best choice here because Sarah is a very good healer. I still use her in some parts of the game, and she gets even better when you get her ice relic, which you could get free through the story. So Sarah is definitely the ideal choice for free-to-play players. Now, if you get lucky and get Jillian, yes, she is absolutely the best healer in the game. It's just that when you first get her, she does not start off strong. She feels kind of weak. So Jillian is the type of hero that you will need to invest some resources in. And I think if you're trying to beat PvE content to build up your account, going with Sarah is the safer bet. So I would choose Sarah over Gillian, even if you have her on your account right now. Now, there are some other ones that could do some decent healing, and I would say prioritize Sarah first, and then Gillian, and then if you don't have any of those two healers, then go with Clementine, and lastly, I forgot her name, but this one, Isolde or something like that. But anyways, she can help you with Gorgos, which is nice and all, but I really feel like it wasn't that necessary. Like, it wasn't really benefiting me that much. So that will be up to you. I know everybody has their preferences, but now that we have all the healers sorted, right, it's 100% time to talk about the DPS. Now, there is way more DPS in this game than any other categories of heroes. So let's try to break this down. All right, without any argument, hands down, right, these two are their top DPS in the game right now. Some might say Belvedere is better, some say Airwood's better. Hey, it's all preference. But regardless, if you have these two, you did your summonings and you pull these two or one of these two, you're set. Don't even worry about the rest of the DPS in the game. Now, for Bedivere, you do need to get him to at least C2, and then for Eric, C1 would be nice. But even still, even without those chivalries, they are good, right? So you're pretty much set when it comes to DPS if you pulled one of these two champions. Bonus time! Now, if you got lucky and somehow pulled these 4 champions in the box, you're set, man. Don't even worry about the rest of the video. Now, I know this is highly unlikely, but if you are the lucky one that got this, hey, you're good. This team right here will carry you throughout the whole PvE experience. I mean, there are some niche places, right? But overall, this will be everything you need. So let's say for the rest of us that do not have those amazing DPS champions, who will be next in line? For me, I would say I will have to go with Rosaire. Now, she is a strong unit, very good with her flame relic. But if you don't have the flame relic, don't worry, you can still use her. She's really good. She's like just right out the box really good, and she has two purposes, right? Like, she does good raw damage, and then on top of that she has her dots, and those dots can be used for Gorgos and other parts of the game. So overall, not a bad champion at all. I would definitely go with her next if you had her, but let's say you're even more unlucky. But these are good choices, so I wouldn't say unlucky. You just don't have these DPS heroes. I will go with Kay. I think Kay is an excellent choice. I still use her in many parts of the game, so I don't have any regrets building up Kay. Kay is very solid, right? I like her. She does a lot for you, man. Very, very strong unit. And since we are about halfway through the video, I should probably mention this right now. So when it comes to the rares and their chivalries, I mean, the golden rule is try to at least get their first two, right? Some other champions has exceptions, but overall though, when it comes to chivalries for the rares, the first two is just fine, right? Anything outside of that is just going to help you out, but it's not necessary. That's why I'm not like posting the chivalries in this video for each rare. But you guys are smart, you know, like you know your team comp the best, so just kind of adjust your team to what you need, right? If you have some extra chivalries and you got your favorite champion, you want to make them stronger, go for it, right? Go for it. It's at the end of the day, it's your account and it's your game to have fun with. And then the next one, I guess it'll be Cormac. I feel like Cormac and Kay are pretty much on par with each other. It's just that Kay, you get her for free, so you know I will go with Kay if I had to choose. And yeah, Cormac's not that bad. He does a lot for you, so definitely don't sleep on him. Now the next two champions, I would say they are like flex DPS types of champions. They're very strong in what they do, but I don't think it's necessary if you have these other mentioned DPS units. And also, if you're free to play, I mean, definitely slowly build up these other two that I'm about to mention, who are Lancelot and Sigrun. I love these two heroes. I use them everywhere in the game. It's just I feel like if you're a little bit short on resources, you might want to hold off in investing in them, because they do take a lot of resources for them to start shining and start to like actually do what they do really well. So that's the only issue. However, if you do have the resources, then I would absolutely build Lancelot before the rares that we just mentioned. And Sigrun, she's great. She does a lot of DPS, but I just don't think she's stronger than the previous mentioned heroes when it comes to DPS, but she is still a solid choice. Those marks, they're nothing to mess around with. And now that we have the flex box up there, we should definitely mention Sergius. Now Sergius is a free to play hero because eventually you could unlock him through arena, and his best weapon, the flame relic, is also in the shop, right? So you could get Sergius maxed out for free. Obviously it'll take some time, but everyone is in the same boat when it comes to the champion, and he is a beast, man. If you get Sergius, put him in the flame relic, dude, I'm telling you, man, perfect flex champion. You will just need Morgan, Sergius, a strong DPS, strong healer, boom, done. Probably easily 95% of the game is handled. So yeah, Sergius, don't sleep on this guy either. As for the rest of the DPS units like Trishan, Ban, and some other ones that I didn't mention, they're all good. They're great, and it's, you know, especially Trishan, right? Trishan, he has that multi-hit, so he's going to be very good for the Pinvid or the pig boss. I forgot his name. Yeah, he works really well there, but you know, I think overall though, when we're talking about DPS, the previously mentioned ones are just a lot better. I'm not saying Trishan's bad. He's definitely usable. So is Ban. So is pretty much almost any rare in this game. They're all good DPS champions. Like, they do what they need to do, especially if you have like the equipment and you have some of the top tier champions already in your team comp. They're gonna be fine, right? So I'm not saying they're terrible. It's just, if I had to pick who am I going to invest in, the ones I mentioned earlier are the ones that I will go with. So that's why these DPS unit just kind of fades into the background. And yeah, so don't take it the wrong way, okay? If this is all you have, use them, because I mean, what else are you gonna do? Now that we covered, you know, your healer, your DPS, your support champions. Oh, actually, we didn't cover support. So let's talk about that real fast. When it comes to supporting champions, there's two heroes that come to my mind, and that's Anne and Merlin. Now, which one's better? Oh man, I really think it depends on what content, because Anne's fantastic. Like, she is the best supporting champion in my opinion overall, right? But when it comes to Merlin's case, he does do revive, and he has, you know, certain mechanics that do help out a lot. So oh man, it is a tough one to decide which one's better. But I will say, if you pulled either or and you have your core team already built out, right? You got Morgan, you got healer, you got DPS. Definitely think about building one of the supporting champions, because it can enhance your overall team comp. But there's also something else you could do. You could run double heals or double DPS, right? So it really depends on what you pull. But when it comes to supporting champions, I would say it's a safe bet to invest into Anne and Merlin. You will not feel any regret from doing such a thing. And we're going to talk about our last category, and our last category is niche heroes. Now, these heroes are the type that will help you in certain content like Gorgos, and I forgot the polar bear's name, but they will help you there, which is fantastic, right? But you won't really use them anywhere else after that, and eventually when your roster gets stronger and stronger, they will get replaced, and you wouldn't even need them anymore. So these are the niche heroes in this game. Alright, let's start off with the niche heroes for Gorgoros. Now for Gorgoros, man, he's a very difficult boss if you're just trying to DPS him down, so you need some dot damage. Now I started this off with Anguish. This is who I used trying to beat Gorgos, but eventually he got replaced. I don't even use him anywhere in the game anymore, so he's very niche just for this section of the game. But that doesn't mean you can't use them anywhere else. I'm just letting you know, eventually once your account gets a lot stronger, you're kind of just gonna let him fade into the background. And the next champion for Gorgos in the same situation as Anguish is Daedric. This guy here, he's really good. He's a common, and he really does help you out defeating Gorgos. So very early game accounts, definitely invest in these two just for this stage for Gorgos, but I wouldn't over invest in them. But if you do, you could always use a reset token and get your resources back, right? And then moving on to the polar bear, definitely a colon. This one here definitely helps you out because he has that recovery disruption, and obviously this bear goes to sleep and heals himself. So using this on this bear is super critical in beating it, right? Especially for early game. But I'm here to tell you, once your account gets built out, once again, you don't even need that function. You could just beat this bear down, DPS it down before it goes to sleep, and boom, it's done. So just letting you know, early game, you will definitely need this niche champion to take down the polar bear. Now, when it comes to the pig and the tiger, you really just need a decrease attack gauge down type of heroes. Now, when it comes to that, you could definitely use Claudus and Alan. You know, now Claudus could be used in a lot more other places, but I would consider a little bit niche, because if you have Morgan and you have Jillian maxed out, you really don't need to use her, and you really don't need to use Alan for attack gauge down. But if you don't have anybody else to do that for you, then consider these two champions to handle that for you, because attack gauge down does help out in quite a few places. So if you do have these champions, who I consider them niche just for that, because if I had Morgan and Jillian, like I said, I would never build these two. But if you don't have them, then definitely use it, because, you know, clearing out these resource bosses is definitely going to help your account grow. So yeah, that pretty much covers everything, I think. Alright, so that is the end of this video. Hopefully you guys liked the information here. Hopefully it was easy for you guys to understand what I was trying to spit out. Pretty much, you know, any champion in this game is going to be useful to some extent, right? But I'm just saying, if you really want to be careful and pick the best units to build out and save a lot of time and resources. I think following this format is going to benefit you a lot. You know, work on your Morgan, get that good healer, get your DPS up, and then work on your flex and support champions, right? If you do that, I think you're going to have no regrets. You're going to dominate this game. So that's why I put it up like this. And then going back to the niche champions, just, you know, hey, these champions do help you out. So I'm not saying don't build them. I'm just saying once you reach that level, once you get to the end game, you're really not going to use them so much. So, you know, just a word of caution when it comes to niche champions. And with all that being said, hey guys, I really hope you did enjoy this video. And yeah, man, I'll just catch you on the next one. See ya.